Watching this season of Kung Fu, you know there's a new big bad in town, and it's this guy right here who plays Russell Tan. It's Kee Chan. Kee, how you doing?
I'm very well, James. Thank you so much for having me.
So you've lived and worked in a lot of countries, Key, over the years.
hmm
So do you feel like that's kind of helped you as an actor be able to prepare for many different kinds of roles in many different kinds of settings?
Absolutely. It's prepared me to live life, basically. And then I translate that into my work. Um, the I have traveled to about 158 cities, and I worked in different 158 cities in 35 years. And it's been an eye opener. It's educated me so much about the world and people, everything else.
No doubt about that. Now, you're old enough to remember the original Kung Fu series, I'm sure. And you know, you're a part of the reboot series now, as I said. So the two shows are vastly different, which I think is really, really great. But were you a fan of that original series, and how excited were you to join this brand new version of it?
I was a kid when I watched it, and so I watched it through a child's eyes, and you interpret things differently when you're a couple of years old, a few years old. I found it. My memory of it is I found it fascinating because the lead was a white guy, and I wondered how, as a little Asian boy living in Singapore, I wondered how he managed to get into that territory and what kind of mindset he had. And being in Kung Fu now is a completely different story, of course. The lead, of course, is Olivia. This is all about her. No, yes, Kee Chan. It is all about her, and every single thing which transpires, including Russell, is just part of a story of her life and what she's going through. What else can I say?
I think you said plenty. Actually, I think that hits the nail right on the head. So we got to see a little bit of Russell Tan at the end of the first season. Now you're kind of taking over as the big bad for season two. Did you actually know ahead of time your character is going to have a bigger role in the second season all along, or did you kind of find out later on?
No, I did not. I thought I was going to be in for 3 episodes, so I assume I was just coming in to be. I thought it was going to be a filler for Curry and just be nice and leave, but it evolved very quickly, and so I had to get my teeth into it. Um, I got I got running because I had the greatest support from actually the crew. And they created such a safe environment for you to be so open as an actor, to be able to reveal so much of stuff which you want to create, which you dare to go in, which in the real life, in the real world, you would never ever do or even think of. The creative freedom which it gives you was everything which allowed me to create Russell.
That's incredible. That's really, really fun to hear. So, you know, Russell Tan feels like more than your typical evil businessman, though, which I think is really, really good. How would you describe him? And when we kind of continue to learn more about him as the season goes on as well.
You will learn a lot more about him because he evolves from episode to episode. In the beginning, he is written as this incredibly evil person, very dark. However, I have given him many, many layers because, bad people are also really, really good people. They come from somewhere. They were somebody's baby, they were someone's son, someone's daughter, someone's newborn, and they grew up. And along the way, things are complicated. But it doesn't mean they're bad because everyone believes what they're doing is the right thing. Bad or good is a judgment. So I hope that the journey I have created for Russell will empathize and will resonate in many, many people with many, many, many people that they see a bit of themselves in every little thing he does.
And I wouldn't be surprised. And actually, I think a part of that might be because of his family, because judging by the first few episodes, seems like there's a very interesting dynamic going on with this Tan family. So, how important are his children to him? And could we see them maybe play a bigger role in his master plan coming up?
Russell's master plan is what he believes is his destiny to do. It's what he believes perhaps is the betterment of many, many, many things. But of course, that you will see later on. His relationship with his children is very, very complicated, like real life families. There is a love-hate relationship. There is all kinds of complications. However, at the end of it all, do you love your children more than what you do? Are your goals more important than that? Then that is what you guys will find out.
Oh, that's such a great tease. Look at that. Oh, you're going to have to just keep watching Kung Fu, which, of course, you can see on Wednesday nights on the CW. We're talking to Kee Chan. Now, Kee, at first it seems like Tan's focus is just on Nikki in the first couple of episodes, but now we know there's really, like you said, much more to it than that. So how much more will we learn about the bell and these artifacts that he's kind of been after?
You will learn them in drips, but because it's not just about the bell. It is so many things which it stands for, what he's looking for. It is only a part of his bigger vision. And unfortunately, or fortunately, everybody else gets involved in it because they are the periphery to all of these things. Nikki Shen, our lead, who is admirable, who works wonderful things, actually. I adore her. Sorry, I got distracted. As the story evolves, more and more characters get involved in it, and it becomes a very complex, very bright tapestry of not just characters, but human values. What you will see is the evolution of Tan's family's relationships with each other. And it's very dramatic.
Interesting, interesting. Now, we've seen, of course, earlier on as well, that Russell Tan's not afraid to get his hands dirty, but it seems like he's got Sasha doing some dirty work for him too as well. What's the trust level between the two of them, or is this just typically a mercenary type situation?
Russell does what he needs to get what he wants. Because at the end of the day, it's his vision which matters most of all above everybody else.
Interesting, interesting. Now, it looks like Russell's son has a very personal connection to Jilan, which we've seen in this last episode, actually. It appears to be kind of almost they try to sever it very early on. Do you think that she could be a potential problem for Russell a little bit down the line? Because I kind of feel like once she finds some things out, she's not going to be too thrilled.
Jilan will always be Russell's problem. But that is the most exciting part about it, because she is a very modern woman. She is singularly attractive, first of all, but she's always singularly focused on empowerment of herself.
And she's got a lot of power. There's no doubt about that. That's what I'd be worried if I was Russell. So we just found out, I'm sure that you've heard the news by now, Kee, that the show's been renewed for a third season. And of course, no spoilers, because we don't know what happened with Russell this season. We certainly don't want to give anything away. But how excited for you, just for everybody involved, to see this story continue for another season?
I am looking forward to all those cast members, who have worked so hard to create the story, and whomever is in 3, I really wish them all well, because this is the most amazing series to work on. The producers are wonderful. They are the kindest, the most caring, the most human and humane people. Christy and Bob, and all the rest as well. I could not be prouder to be in any other production. This has been a dream.
So, Kee, I heard a rumor that you're quite an artist and that you actually do sketches for members of the crew on projects that you're on. Did you get a chance to do that for Kung Fu yet?
I actually did, yes. I carry a little sketch pad, those postcard size ones, in my pocket. And in between takes, or when you're doing a new setup, I pull it out and I just do my pencil sketch, my quick sketches, because it's very calming, it's very zen, and I capture the moment right in front of me, what I see. And very often, most of the time, I just hand them to whoever is close by to me, a crew member, for them to remember that moment for themselves. I do.
That's incredible. You're like the best Polaroid camera ever. I think that's really, really great. So, Key, before I let you go, I want to take you back a little bit to earlier on in your career. You're part of a lot of big projects, but I can't help but ask you about your time on Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. A lot of fans are seeing that movie in a little bit of a different light now with fresh eyes, especially with Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series coming up on Disney+. What do you remember the most about being a part of that and being a part of Star Wars in general?
It's a film I can never forget because when it was done 20 years ago or so, it was George Lucas's Revenge of the Sith with the Force, right? I can't remember now. But I remember my most vivid memory was being on set when we were waiting for Emperor Palpatine to land, for his spaceship to land. And all the characters were there, and I was in the middle of it all. And I was in wonderment. And I suddenly realized, because everyone was around me, and Katie and Amanda were right next to me. And I was thinking, I can't comprehend this. And suddenly I realized I wasn't watching a movie. I wasn't watching television anymore. I was in the middle of Star Wars. I am Star Wars, I thought. And that was it was cataclysmic inside.
I can only imagine what that moment was like. And you've had so many wonderful moments over your career, but we definitely want to make sure we're watching you in Kung Fu on the CW. That's every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. You can also watch it again next day on the CW app. You're going to see this guy on a lot more great stuff coming up in the future as well. It's Kee Chan. Thank you so much for taking your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And, have a great day, James.